What were you bullied for in school? For being quiet. Like what the fuck? Am I supposed to be loud and annoying? Exactly. You're so quiet. Yeah, do you want me to perform or something? For me it was even worse when they asked, why are you so quiet? In that really judgmental tone. Like, what do you want me to say? I just am, bro. Stop making me feel like shit. I got the same treatment. Why do people get so freaked out by quietness? Fearful existing. Damn, me too. My race, skinny, quiet. My oudest monsieur, I got wood bits thrown at me. No one should ever go through that. I'm sorry to hear. I hope things are better now. Smiley face. Oh, it definitely is. Unless I tell em, people don't really know that I even have oudest monsieur, but damn. Fucking elementary school was shit. On top of that, I was with the same class for 8+ years. But it's all good now. Being gay. I was never gay. And still love women. Don't know how they got that idea when I was with their girl during recess while they was in detention. Being different. I was a nerd before the word existed. This was back in the 60s and 70s. I was interested in math and science. I liked classical music. I was also extremely disinterested in the things the others around me liked: football, beer, tattoos, music like AC/DC. Didn't go down well at all in Australia. Using Reddit and not Instagram, monsieur. Fuck the bullies. Long hair as a guy. Same. But I still rock nipple-length hair because my fashion advice is to not take fashion advice. Edit. By nipple-length I mean hair down to my nipples, lol. Being quiet. My last name was similar to a fruit. Being quiet. Hitting puberty first. My teeth. Being biracial. Being in love with everyone because apparently being nice to people means you like them, monsieur. My weight. I wasn't feminine enough, other times too feminine. For being short. But I broke a couple of noses and the word got around that the short guy wasn't an easy target. That's a good decision. Violence doesn't solve problems, my ass. It's not an always go-to, but if it is called for, the results are usually worth it. My religion. I grew up in a very Catholic and Christian town, and I did believe in God. And that was the best thing they could come up with to bully me. If you were Christian, they would have found something else. For being smarter than they are. Primarily being fat, but damn, pretty much everything else too. Being poor. Being a sibling to cool kids. Liking Pokemon, anything considered nerdy. Being bad at sports. My hair. My name. The way I spoke. I had a speech impediment. Hell, once I was bullied for wearing odd socks for a week straight. You should have just changed your socks. Why would you wear them for a week in a row? I'll clarify. I wore a pair of odd socks for one day. Got mocked for a week. I was playing football and grabbed a bundled pair from the pile. They were odd, so I wore them to avoid my white school socks getting muddy. Got mocked all game long. Then by the rest of the school all week for it once it spread. Not using sauce on certain foods. Being poor. It affects way more than people think. Especially if you go to a school made up of mostly middle to higher class kids. I had a crappy jacket I wore. Couldn't afford makeup as a girl, so was left out there. Never got to fix my teeth, etc. Hard to approach people and relate to them when you look roughed up. Being quiet. In middle school I was bullied for my hairline because it was small, I guess. I was also bullied because I would stand up for myself, which bullies hate, of course. In high school, freshman year, this white kid called me the N-word every other day. I'm half black. Junior year, same kid would make fun of my middle name. Not sure why, since it's just a normal name. I was also messed with by others cause again, I would stand up for myself and not follow the herd. English is my first language, but I wasn't raised in an English-speaking country. Kids in school used to make fun of me cause they couldn't understand what I was saying, and I couldn't understand them either. They'd just laugh at me and mock me for only speaking in English, lol. A gap between my front teeth. I'm also petite, so I'm often hit with "if the wind blows." it would blow you away, or, if you turn sideways behind a pole, you'd disappear. My favorite has to be telling me to eat a cake or a cookie, though. While some are in humor, others have not been throughout the years. Sad. I'm in my 30s and still hear it on a regular basis. I'm sorry that is happening to you. That must be hurtful. Ignore the monsieur, you're amazing. Ooh, I heard the too skinny jokes too. Heard there's somebody better feed you. Stick your tongue out and you look like a zipper. And my personal favorite, are you sure you aren't anorexic? Being tall, being a girl, and last but not least, being a tall girl. Having a gay mom. Bullied by my best friend at the time once I told her. That stung. For being quiet, which was because of a mix of me just being more introverted and reserved, but also the fact after the above scenario I felt like I definitely had to hide a big part of myself. My mom and her being gay, especially as gay became the insult. For having curly hair and other stupid appearance-based stuff. For sticking up to other people being bullied due to their race, sexuality, or being perceived as sluts in a situation where they were being abused, groomed. Kids are dicks. Edit. Oh, also the smart kids and outcasts started icing me out when I was getting good grades despite not making the effort, which was due to my depression. So I became like a loner in a group of people. I have a friend with 2 lesbian moms. Whenever somebody makes a "your mom" joke, he responds with, "Which one?" Quote. Asterisk confusion intensifies. Haha, nice. Love it. See, I can't make that joke as my situation is a weird one. My mom has been out and gay since her late teens. But she met and fell in love with my dad. It happens. So married, had 2 kids. But after cheating and abuse they separated. When I was 8 she introduced me and my brother to her girlfriend, who remained with my mom until a year ago. I'm 25 now, but that was a terrible relationship, since her GF, and my parent figure, was highly emotionally abusive, sometimes physical, to my mom and also myself and slightly my brother. Whilst she was a parent figure, she did act like it. She ended up cheating on my mom, then moved out without planning to tell her. When my mom was having a cancer scare, short on money, and here's the kicker, before my graduation from Cambridge, which she claimed she would look after the dog to let my mom attend, she has yet to contact me. So yeah, not really a mew monsieur, so double sucked as I had no one to connect to about the abuse. Then when I did finally feel safe to tell people my mom was gay, whilst liberating, I hid the abuse since I didn't want people to twist gay parenting as bad, when it was simply my mom's GF was a grade a cunt. Sorry for the mini-vent. I literally came to the realization how much this impacted me and my difficulties with feeling connected to people this week. So it is pretty raw. In middle school, I stood up for one of my friends that was getting bullied by an 8th grader and we were in 6th grade. It is not like the movies. We then both got beat up, not like a beat down, but pushing and shoving until we both were completely submissive and scared. It was not fun. A few years later in high school, that bully made peace with us. He actually turned out to be a good person. Everyone is a fucking moron in middle school. Middle school was a different dimension. What you did was awesome, though. Props to you. Thanks. As much as getting bullied sucks, I took it as a learning experience. I never physically bullied anyone, but I am guilty of verbally bullying people at that age as well. Or blowing off friends to not seem like a loser around the cool kids. I think to address bullying, we have to admit when we were wrong. Lots of people love talking about how they were bullied. I am guilty of this as well. We also got to admit when we were the bully. Also with that, seeking forgiveness and making it right is a huge step. Being smart, being ginger, but life has taught me that this is an okay trait to pick on, so I have grown a thick skin. Ginger is cool. You've got fire hair. Don't let anyone bother you on it. My clothes. I was always a few years behind the current styles. and almost all my clothes were second-hand, when we could afford to buy me new clothes instead of the usual thrift store or homemade stuff. It was always the least expensive clothes available. When I was in school, I said lots of stupid things without thinking, probably because of my ADHD. So people started making fun of me all the time. I then tried my best to control my impulsivity, but I still get bullied by them until we graduated. In junior high, my race lived in as and was called a dumb cunt that should go back to the trailer because I was white trash. Had Hispanic girls chase me with chains. This was as in the 80s. Oh monsieur, I hope they did catch you. For being the quiet kid who preferred to draw and spend breaks alone. For body hair. For being bad at sports. For being shy. For wearing glasses, and for having a crush on a certain boy who joined the bullies. From that time on, I never had another crush. Red hair. Eventually this changed into strangers telling me how beautiful it is, or even touching it. Asterisk, just leave me alone. Asterisk, for having long hair. It was brow length. For being skinny. For not being into guns. For reading. I was assaulted by a shop teacher once because some kids destroyed a grandfather clock and wrote my name on the destruction. For being a high-waisted man with feminine hips. For not liking Fortnite. XD, I legit forgot that game existed for like 2 weeks. Lol. I was quiet, had long hair, was a skater and listened to metal. They beat the shit out of me for 5 years. Being gay. Teacher of an extremely small school, had all of my older sisters before I did, and already had a strong dislike towards my family. That, coupled with the fact that our class bully was the son of her best friend, made first grade quite difficult for a long time. Freckles. For not talking enough. WTF does that even mean? For being a lesbian. For being from the wrong side of the tracks. Being weird, I guess. And also not being good at sports. That definitely didn't help. Existing. For being gay. I'm not even gay. For wearing glasses. For liking video games. There are plenty more, but those are the top 3. For having a high self-esteem, monsieur, I lived in a poorish area, and kids in those types of areas don't have very positive influences in their lives. I had a nervous tic where I tensed my neck muscles and pulled my jaw downwards. My face, my hair, my body, and body hair, smiley face. I still don't know why I was bullied. For not being white, black, or Mexican in a small town filled with whites, blacks, and Mexicans. What's worse is my own people thought I was too whitewashed to hang out with them too. Thank God for video games and basketball, or I'd have hardly any good memories of growing up. The way I looked, red hairs but still ain't ugly. 'Cause I was poor. 'Cause I have ADHD. 'Cause my name is Kevin. Well, basically 'cause I was who I was. Lul. Okay. For my parents not being locals. For being skinny. For looking kinda like the comic relief in a stupid sitcom. For growing my hair. Nothing really violent physically or psychologically. But basically, anything I did, it was a way to give me shit. But according to my former schoolmates, we had an awesome time in school and everyone was super nice and friendly. It's sad for bullies that they get Alzheimer's so early. He became an auto mechanic, was married and had 2 kids. He died around 35 years old, and I ended up teaching his daughter in middle school. She was very smart, which was weird since he was not at all. I went out of my way to be sure I was kind to her and to be sure there was no negative feelings towards her. She is not her father and had nothing to do with how he treated me. I was bullied from 1st to 8th grade because of the fact that I wasn't very confrontational. I was quiet. I didn't have many friends. And sometimes I got a little too emotional. I had to get counseling for years. And people made fun of that, talking about me like I wasn't human. I'm in high school now, and nobody really bothers me anymore. The people at my high school actually appreciate me and respect me. So I was able to open up more. I'm in student council. library club, and I even performed in some school plays. I'm all better now. I'm so glad you're here. Smiley face. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day.